You're welcome back. This is Newsfile, and this certainly is your most authoritative news analysis platform on radio and television. This show is coming to you live from the Multi-TV studios. This is your Joy News channel. It is live on Joy 99.7 FM and over a dozen affiliate stations across the country. And we are also streaming live at MultiTV World/streams and myjoyonline.com. Subsequently, this program is available on the ABN TV Sky Channel 290. That is the best black television station in the UK and elsewhere in London. They received that award, I think, about just a month ago. Thank you very much for being partners with us here on Newsfile. The show is brought to you by the kindest sponsorship of MTN everywhere you go. Welcome to the new world. Lipton tea, inspiration flowing from nature. Sasso Kumuntuntum Preko. Errata Motors, that's the best vehicles for the best prices. Star Assurance, your solid partner. And Bank of Africa, as strong as a group and close as a partner. Well, as you just heard me a while ago, there are some 5,200 NPP men and women in Tamale right now to decide the fate of over 40 individuals who are seeking to fill only 8 positions, national offices of the largest opposition party in the country. And soon as that is done, you can be assured that the battle is started. They are going to begin the political onslaught to try to unseat JDM. That's His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana and his NDC government. And we say we are interested in this matter, and of course you would discover that we have taken a lot of machinery and staff to Tamale. Our guys are underground: Stephen Anti, Emmanuel Ante, Elton John Brobe, name them. They are all there. Gifty Apia, sure, all of them are there. And we'll be bringing you the latest, the developments as they happen over there. And why are we interested? I have stated that. We are interested because these men and women who are going to be chosen soon, potentially, may be directing affairs of state. That is, if the NPP does succeed in its quest to unsettle the NDC in 2016. So we ought to be interested. And I did indicate to you that we'll be dealing with some very burning matters that dominated the headlines this week as well. And we are privileged to have also get some very special insight into the economic partnership agreements. You remember last week we had a discussion about it, and it appears that there's a consensus, overwhelming groundswell of the views within the Ghanaian populace that it may not be the best for Ghana. There's that other group that says that let's sign it, we need it, we have no option. We'll get some special insight into that. Your views and comments, questions are welcome. 1422, that's a text line. 1422. You can also send them to 1760, or send them directly to newsfile@myjoyonline.com. Newsfile@myjoyonline.com. You can also post them on our Facebook wall and we'll read them, share them with the rest of the world. My guests, 2 of them are already seated in the studio, and regular panelists, Editor-in-Chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, Abdel Malik Baku Jr. Good morning and welcome to the show, Senior.
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
Thank you for coming. And we also are privileged to have the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, the Minister for Trade and Industry. Good morning and welcome to the show. Thank you very much. The NPP is in your constituency, literally, this morning. I would have thought that maybe you would be there trying to see that they don't infiltrate your ranks and dilute your strength in the area.
They are enjoying Tamale very, very well.
Right.
I hear that the streets were packed with enthusiastic supporters of the NPP. I do have some friends and brothers at the highest level of the NPP that we have engaged in some informal conversation to appreciate the fact that there was no cause for alarm and to be worried about it. And the significant thing is that for many of them, this is the first time they are traveling to Tamale from many parts of the country. They will begin to appreciate the people of Tamale and their culture a very peaceful and hospitable environment in Ghana, and a place to be. But I think that from my monitoring so far, if it's compelling after this session, I may catch up with a flight to be in Tamale. Okay. Originally, I was thinking that I'll be part of the NDC delegation that will be sent there. Okay. But this time, there is a difference between party and government sometimes. Right. And we're allowing the leadership of the party to play their role.
And I have made a personal observation that it appears that now you have a lot more concentration to the business of governance and managing your ministry, a very strategic ministry, than getting into political matters.
I used to be national youth organizer of the party, so it's exciting working for the party. Right. Now you must appreciate the fact that you are working for the state, and you have a responsibility and obligation to every Ghanaian.
Especially when you're managing
even this morning,
ministry
this morning I spoke to a number of NPP MPs, right. And I got some good advice from Natoshi, one of the whips, who appreciated and discussed what could be done to make it eventful for them in Tamale. And we are doing exactly that. We have cautioned the NDC supporters in Tamale to remain very calm and steadfast, and to stay away from any of the NPP-related activities as they go to Congress. And we pray that they emerge very successful getting their leaders through.
But you're not entertaining any fears at all that they are at your home with that huge numbers. There's a likelihood of, you know...
Not at all. One of these weekends, maybe I have to go with Male Kwekubako to Tamale to appreciate that Tamale South remains a no-go zone. I can share my electoral statistics 2016 with you. I got 56,000 in 2012. I'm up into 65,000, so I'm not the least worried at all. Going forward. But I should concede that when the crowd entered Tamale, some of our people expressed concern that the elephant had descended so heavily on them.
All right. Okay, Abdul Malik, certainly it's a very lively weekend. The whole nation's attention, I suspect, without doubt, will be on what happens in Tamale this morning.
Yes, I mean, it's this is the biggest opposition party holding a national delegates conference to elect new set of leaders.
And some will say, without fear of any equivocation, that the only potential alternative.
Sure, at this stage, based on the electoral statistics, strengths and weaknesses, one has to be honest about that. But politics, anything can happen anyway. You never can tell. But the point is that it's a very important...
I qualified it to escape attacks from the PNC and CPP the PPP and all of that.
A few moments ago, he was talking about the stronghold. That was actually a traditionally CPP safe seat, and they have more or less swallowed it. But we'll come to that in the future. But the point really is that it's a very important event. My primary concern was that of security. Right. Last Wednesday, I made a certain contribution on Kwame's Safakai's program, and I thought the fact that the event, such a big event, was going to take place there was itself a vote of confidence in the security stabilization situation in that place, and also the fact that it also has its collateral implications for business, however temporal. But I was a bit upset with the shooting incident that happened,
which led to the 9 who got injured.
Yes, I was really taken aback, because not for a moment did I imagine that would happen, because I am really interested in the continuing stabilization.
And for those of you who have not had a wind of what Kwekubako is referring to, is that on the first day, upon the arrival in Tamale, we are told of a group of young men who were riding an unregistered motorbike, who shot into a crowd, and about 9 people got injured, and we're told they are receiving treatment at the hospital.
Yes, that has been my only concern. No, I'm so a bit upset about that, and I'm hoping that it doesn't develop into any scenario, because I was told that the NPP regional communication team have issued a statement claiming they know those who did it, and those who did it are NDC, and that they would retaliate. I am hoping they will focus on their program, allow the police to conduct the appropriate investigations and deal with the culprits, regardless of their party colors. Let's focus. That part of our country needs continuing, deepening stabilization of the security environment, and for me that is primary. So this talk of retaliation is what has made me sit up, and I think we should look at it clearly.
Okay. I have to welcome now Nana Akumia, immediate past communications director of the New Patriotic Party, into the studio. Good morning and welcome to the show, Nana.
Good morning, Samson. Thank you.
Fortunately, we are very grateful that you managed to join us here in the studio, because it appears that literally every member of the NPP presently is in Tamale. Okay.
Well, I expect to catch the afternoon flight.
Right. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for doing us the honors. So this morning, as you sit here, what goes through your mind as you think about what is going on at the Tamale Stadium?
Well, I am happy that the NPP has gotten to this stage. This is an essential part of the reorganization of the party. We started in the last 3 months of 2013 with the polling station reorganization. All the polling stations in this country, we organized elections to elect 5 executives for each of them, and then we followed up with the 275 constituencies where we've successfully elected executives, and then to the 10 regions where new executives are in place. Today's exercise to elect the national executives would complete the executive and leadership structure of the party, and then we will be ready for the flag bearership contest. The flag bearership contest should take place maybe in the last quarter of this year, and when that is also done, then the party has finished with the reorganization, and for the next 2 years we will pursue the task of coming back into power. So today's event is I'm happy that the NPP has reached this stage, and I'm wishing everybody who is standing for offering himself or herself for leadership position every luck and every success, and I'm wishing that the delegates will make choices that will inure to the benefit of the party and the country.
Okay. Just a brief insight into what is going to happen today. It's not just a process to elect people, officers. That's a major part of the agenda, but this is the National Delegates Conference, supposed to be the highest, is it, decision-making point for the party, right?
Yes. Right,
and there are other things that will be done. What exactly is going to happen even before or after the elections?
Well, like you said, the Delegates Conference is the highest authority in the party. It had representatives from constituencies through to national, through to region to national. So it's the highest authority in the
Those
party.
who are attending include members of the National Council, members of the National Executive Committee, all members of the Regional Executive Committees, all members of the Constituency Executive Committees, 15 members of the National Council of Elders, 12 delegates from every external branch as defined under Section 8(2) of your Constitution, 1 TESCOM representative from each recognized tertiary institution in the country, 15 patrons elected from among themselves, founding members across the country who are signatories to the registration documents of the party at the Electoral Commission, all members of Parliament, and all New Patriotic Party members who are ministers, deputy ministers, that's when you are in power, and so on. So that is a meeting of the soul of the party.
Absolutely, Samson. And you're looking at about 5,200. Yeah, to over 5,000 people.
Right.
Now, like you said, this conference or this body meets once a year. When they meet, they take reports from the executives on the state of the party.
Right.
Reports on the finances of the party, the organization of the party, the viability of the party, whatever has happened.
The Constitution says specifically that the conference will deliberate and make appropriate resolutions on the National Chairperson's report, the National Treasurer's statement of accounts, and any other matters.
Yeah. So every year, it meets and receives these reports on the state of the party, finances, organization, whatever. And then whatever resolutions have to be taken are tabled and taken. So that is a routine exercise. Now, every 4 years, the National Delegates Conference, aside from the routine business of receiving reports on the state of the party, every 4 years, they also conduct elections. They form an electoral college to conduct elections to select national executives. So year 2014 is the 4th year after year 2010 when the Delegates Conference constituted an electoral college in Kumasi to select, apart from receiving all these reports, to select executives. 4 years are up. So this year, the conference will receive the reports for the first session, and then it will constitute itself into an electoral college and conduct elections.
Right. I'll return to you shortly. Abdul Malik, when you listen to what has been going on so far, and we're just going to do a brief about the conference and hold on with discussions on that for now, pending when they get into, full action. When you hear the discussions going on, prior to this particular conference, there are those who suggest that the party is not as united as they portray to the outside world. There are camps, there are groups, and almost at each other's throat every day.
Well, such a mass party, it's such a huge mass party. I would be surprised if they didn't have any differences, camps and divisions, even though they are united on a certain tradition and a certain philosophy. But it would be unrealistic, indeed, naive, to expect such a mass party not to have different camps. So that's okay. I think one can live with that. What is wrong is sometimes the aberrations, the kind of language that is applied, the kind of, statements that are made, the accusations that are left unsubstantiated, the character assassination and the rest that come on board. It's still human, I understand, but it's a sign of also some level of irresponsibility and indiscipline. So yes, you're human, so it means you can just talk and talk by heart. I'm not too sure about that. That's why the party constitution has some clauses, some sections that deal with misconduct and all those things. So that's true, but I think overall, as Akomia indicated, we began from the grassroots. Some 26,000 or so polling stations or so that they went through, relatively very peaceful and progressive. There were few hiccups.
There's an injunction on about 3 or 4 of the areas that cannot vote today at the conference.
That's not a big deal. It's a big deal for those who cannot vote. I cannot appreciate that. But overall, in terms of statistical impact, it's not a big deal.
Well, I'll ask Nana Kumia if that's a sign of proactive leadership, because we understand that there were steps to make sure that those people got, their elections done, so that they will be able to participate in the process today. But
ideally,
things didn't work for them.
Ideally, you try to empower and enable all members of the party who qualify to vote to be delegates and be at the appropriate forum to vote. That's the ideal situation. But sometimes in practice, in the course of trying to operationalize those principles, you suffer some challenges. And so you look at the statistical impact, and then you realize whether you are carrying along a critical mass of the party or not. We are human beings. You can never get a perfect situation. But to be honest with you, there are certain statements that are being made, and I agree, when it comes to the season of internal competitions, it comes with some of these things, but some of them are such that if you are not careful, it can have a collateral damage on the corporate integrity of that organization.
Right. Maybe I should say it, I should say it well for Kweku.
Sure.
They are simply enriching us with the needed arsenal,
right,
for a strong rebuttal and to reference their own words without paying royalties.
I agree.
As to the kind of description they are given to their eventual national leadership of the party. But Samson, let me just respond to a very...
It is true, but it's half-truth. Because you see, at the same time,
your
own
people, potential national chairman as a gay,
no,
you expect who? When we go to platform,
no, I don't mean the
people will use that against that person.
No, you're not getting me.
They started peddling, this drugs thing against him.
I'm not talking about allegations or accusations. Okay. I'm talking about the benefits that come to your end. And I'm saying that within your party, even before you go for your congress or whatever you call it, are also things coming out from leading members of your party. So it cuts across.
Right.
That's the point I was making.
Okay, but what do you say? Is it healthy for the party to have ex-executives, former executives, appear to take a stance and campaign against the incumbent? You have Ohene Into, who has declared that, look, do away with the current executives. You have other key members in the party. You have Obi Amwa, Member of Parliament, who says the current executives, do away with them. They are not competent. You have Dr. Frimpong Boateng and others. They seem to be against Jake and his team. Is that healthy?
Yes, Samson, in responding to it, there are two important issues Kweku raised. One is legitimate and deep fear and concern about the shooting incidents in Tamale. And we expect that the security agencies will act timeously and high-handedly in dealing with this matter. If you recall, there was an earlier shooting incident in Abu Abu, which almost informed the NPP to even consider a change of venue for this Congress. Those packets of disturbances in Tamale will have to be dealt with decisively, and that has been conveyed strongly to the Regional Coordinating Council and to DISEC to be able to identify the perpetrators of this violence and deal with them ruthlessly. But I agree with Kweku. Even as I was away from home, when I heard about this incident, I put all my two hands on my head and said, no, Tamale again, this should not happen. So I entirely agree with him. But the beauty of Tamale is that this violence are normally isolated in just one or two areas, and I believe that we will, as part of the leadership, I've called on our opinion leaders, our chief, the youth leaders, and others to all play a role in not damaging the reputation of Tamale as a very safe place. But coming to the New Patriotic Party Congress, yes, it's true that it's the largest opposition party in Ghana. Electoral Statistics 2012 representation in Parliament, and a potential and promise into the future leadership of the country. I think the question we should be asking before I come to your main question is, one, are they in compliance with the National Constitution of Ghana? It requires that a political party must be national in character. Today's event will be a climax of a series of activities starting from the bottom level of the party structures to the top. So that must bring closure into what Nana Akumia described as a reorganization of the party and getting structures of the party and getting it battle ready for the 2016 elections. Now the next legitimate question is, are they compliant with the specific constitution of the New Patriotic Party? You say yes again because so far there is no legal hindrance or limitation to the conduct of the exercise, and we believe that the end results will also be in tandem with what their constitution requires them to do. The third issue which answers your question, another issue raised by Kweku, is within every political party there are interest groups. So let's not make assumptions or exaggerations out of it. Even if you have the right, you have center right, you have far right people, they share the same philosophy and ideology, but sometimes there are those who want it exercised with moderation. Now, over time, those who are questioning the competence of the current executives, I'm sure they have narrowly come to a conclusion that blame the national executive for the defeat of the party in the 2012 elections. If the NPP does an assessment of its own performance, an assessment of its own candidate, presidential and parliamentary candidate, and go beyond just imposing this burden that it was the doing of our national executive, then they will appreciate it. The danger is where the call for an entire exit of the national executive is not informed by merit, but maybe just petty hate, or the person doesn't share the group he belongs to within the political party, I will be concerned. But if it is founded on the basis that no, this national executive haven't served the party right, they have not been able to achieve the goals to which we set for them, that is legitimate.
Certainly,
but
the ultimate goal that is set for them is to win power, and they didn't win power.
It's also true
Two times
they will try to
deliver power to the NPP.
They will try to patch up, and my advice to them is to try and patch up even after the election.
Okay.
Today, they will still appear fragmented and disunited.
Now, I'm asking you, Kumewu, Jabing, and Menchia North, they are not going to vote today. That is sad. And you knew long ahead of time that because last month's elections, constituency executive elections, there were problems, and the national executive ordered a rerun of these elections. Things have not been carried to their conclusion, and now here you are. That's unfair, and it sounds like an executive that's not proactive enough, isn't it?
Well, Samson, I wouldn't make excuses for the executive, but the 275 constituencies, and if 3 or 4 have problems, I believe that is a fairly good performance out of 275.
These problems can come to haunt you later and cause problems.
If I develop my point, you would see the context. You see, like I said, 275 and only 3 or 4. It would not affect the conference in any manner because the quorum is oversubscribed. The quorum is 1/3 the 5,200. So it's oversubscribed. So these 3, 4 constituencies will not affect it. Number 2, you see
people like going to court too.
No, legitimacy of a conference cannot be challenged by
this exactly. That's what
it cannot. It doesn't affect the requirement of a quorum for the conference.
The constitutional stipulation of each from here, from there, from that, if one of that is knocked off, and your constitution doesn't make provision to take that on board without violation, I am just thinking ahead that you may have a problem, and that's what you may be doing today.
You would rather have a problem if those people who have been barred by courts are allowed to take part. If the courts have determined that they should hold on.
Right.
This is a law-abiding party, let's hold on. If it would affect the quorum, then you have a problem, but it will not affect the quorum. Now, the other one about the executives and their performance. You see, because of I believe the petition, the electoral, the Supreme Court petition, most of these exercises were supposed to have taken place much earlier.
Right.
But there was a delay because of the Supreme Court for 8 months. So you have a situation where we have to do the reorganization with very little intervals between the stages. You know, with the polling station, after that, just about a month, you have the constituencies, then just about a month, you have the region, and then in fact, this one has been postponed, otherwise it was going to take place 1 month after the regional congresses.
Right.
So you have just about a 1 month window to deal with issues that come up. From the constituency level, you have just 1 month to deal with issues before the regional congress. From the regional congress, you have just about 1 month, if this postponement hadn't come, to deal with issues that may come up. Meanwhile, there are lots of the executives this time are also fighting for re-election. So the focus is a little disturbed because they're also fighting for re-election.
Sorry, I'm going back to that. I was only asking that if your constitution does not bar you, then that's fine. But you see, the excuses you are giving, if they are not things that were occasioned by what we say in law, force majeure or an act of God that you could not do anything about, and you are required to have made sure that everything was done, was in proper shape before you go to the Congress, and it wasn't done, you still haven't achieved legally what ought to be completed.
I'm saying to you that the quorum has been satisfied. So legally, there's no legal impediment.
Thank you.
I am very sure that when the new executives are in place, they will deal with these 3, 4 constituencies. And mind you, some of these issues that arise from the constituency elections, you would try and broker an agreement if people are still intransigent, if people still have entrenched positions. then of course, you really cannot force decisions down people's throats in some of these cases, except through negotiation. And if the negotiations are delayed and people are not willing to compromise on time, you would have this situation. But I'm sure when the new executives come, they'll be able to tackle. Haruna, the minister, said something about we giving them ammunition. I thought he was trying to gloat a little. I would advise him not to, because they haven't.
But you are washing your dirty linen in the public, and they are aware of all that is going on.
I agree with that, but like I'm saying, it's almost become a pattern when elections are to be held in political parties in this country. So when
Foku says that's unavoidable in a vibrant party like yours.
Well, every year every party will have to look at what happened and try and make regulations to limit it. That is what the parties should do. The NDC, they haven't even started, but we know the allegations that are flying about regarding the chairmanship. We know the allegations that are flying about.
Let's get to their term and we'll discuss
their regional chairmanship.
They will be the subject when it gets to their term, so don't go into those allegations.
It's just a little advice to my brother Haruna.
We're taking a quick break on this point and we'll come and deal with some other matters. But I wanted to ask you about this. You know, there's a letter that Paul Afoko is supposed to have written to the National Executive to make some complaints or raise some issues which he pointed to the Constitution that certain category of people should not be allowed to vote at the conference. And that letter somehow got into the public domain. And now it's got Nanado to come forward to say, you know, I will vote, no one can stop me from voting. Now you are hearing there's also a publication that seeks to say Nana endorses Afoko and all of those things. What is that?
Well, you know, the people who are running are supposed to be supervising the processes for the elections. A lot of the time, they also have their own interests. Mr. Afoko is a contestant. He wanted clarification on some of the members of the Electoral College. So he wrote to the party to seek clarification. Unfortunately, somebody leaked the letter that he had written, and so it becomes an issue that comes into the public. But otherwise, he was seeking clarification. I sincerely think that it was a bit too late in the day, because they had series of meetings, the contestants and the offices that are supervising the election. They've had series of meetings to resolve issues, especially the one about the proxy voting and so on and so forth. So having not brought this issue up at those meetings and then writing a formal letter 2 or 3 days to the conference, which is then leaked, you know, it's something that really should have been avoided, especially when the category that Mr. Afoko sought to seek clarification from also has people like past flag bearership and past running mates and so on. So somebody thought that, well, if this is put in the public domain, it might inure to the benefit of some other interests. So it's unfortunate. I think that should have been avoided.
So the position is that by your constitution, past flag bearers and running mates are allowed to vote at the conference?
Past flag bearers, you see, in the case of, I haven't seen past flag bearer being allowed to vote.
Okay.
What I have seen is past presidents and also flag bearers, sitting flag bearers. The past flag bearers, I haven't seen the specific mention. I may be wrong, but I haven't seen a specific provision for past flag bearer. What I have seen is past presidents, past vice presidents, and flag bearer and running mate. So that presupposes that you must be a flag bearer or you must be a running mate. At the moment, the NPP hasn't got a flag bearer or a running mate.
Right.
But you see, somebody like Nanado, he falls into several other categories. Founders, he's a founding member, he falls into that and all of that. So,
I think that's great clarity. Haruna, briefly, you are opening the NPP's constitution. You want to make a point?
Yes.
Which page?
Page 36 to 37 to 38. And I would offer free legal advice to the new patriotic party that beyond today's Congress, you must be reviewing aspects of the Constitution particularly in respect of page 36, 122. The National Delegates Congress shall be attended by the following delegates. Samson, for abundance of caution, you can look at other political party constitutions, even outside Ghana, best practice. I think that the rendition there must read, I know they are very brilliant lawyers, the following shall attend and vote at the National Delegates Congress. That will provide for a better clarity in the future. There's a difference. When you say the following shall attend, give any meaning to attend. You want to clothe them with the power and the right to vote. So it is not just participation in the Congress. It is the power to exercise a right to vote, which is a constitutional right. Every Ghanaian has a right to vote and be voted for. So I think that the New Patriotic Party must improve it. But for the fact that Nana has come, that Nana Akufo-Addo will exercise a right as a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, except in that respect, I would not recognize any capacity of him legally to vote. If they were referring to his role, and I refer Nana Akumia again to the clause which deals with past national, I just benefited with, from Kweku's guidance, where you have the past leadership of the party. There, the rendition is not that they have a right to vote. They are recognized as members of the National Executive Committee of the party. That does not clothe him with the right and capacity to vote. So Nana will only be voting today if it's justified under the New Patriotic Party Constitution that he's part of those who signed that document of registration with the Electoral Commission of Ghana, but not in his capacity as a flag bearer of presidential candidate. In any case, there's no flag bearer.
Okay, so you're saying that they should provide sufficient clarity and avoid any ambiguity by adding to the National Delegates Conference shall be attended by the following delegates.
They shall attend and vote. Absolutely.
Okay.
And Congress can take a look at it.
Is it not instructive that they say shall be attended by the following delegates?
No, even
they said delegates.
I say that there is still a lacuna there. There's something lost significantly.
No, but when you are named delegates, I think that implicitly is that you have a right to vote.
Delegates, you may just participate in the process. Like I'm making the distinction. Nana Akufo-Addo may be recognized as a member of the National Executive Committee by virtue of being a past presidential candidate. And I'm saying by law, whether in the Constitution or NPP Constitution, there's no flag bearer and there's no presidential candidate to the New Patriotic Party until so determined at a National Delegates Congress dedicated for the purpose of electing a presidential candidate. So today, Nana Addo has no status within the legal remit of the NPP.
Interesting there. Okay, thank you very much. We don't have to belabor this that much. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back. The show is Newsfile, your most authoritative news analysis show. We're coming to you from the Multi-TV studios. We have our men and women all over the Tamale metropolis and inside the stadium where the NPP is holding its most important National Delegates Conference. We'll be right back and give you more details about that. Then when we return, we'll get into just some other discussions. We'll be right back.